please don't continue. Hey, boy. Hey, piece of boy. Boy.
Seriously?
Yes, sir.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grim. Today is part 2 of our series on this guy, Jeremy DeWitt, who you just saw is basically doing his best attempt at a police cosplay, and he claims that he is not impersonating a police officer, so we're gonna see if that is actually true, and it's actually mind-blowing that this guy is on Dr. Phil's show, because again, I've been following his story for a while now through the Real World Police channel. It's just so insanely messy and just not okay, so I hope he's about to get one handed to him today. But yeah, the entire time this guy is going to be on stage, he's going to be talking in vague terms and semantics and not really answering any of Dr. Phil's questions, which is so frustrating but also incredibly entertaining because some of these excuses are just so off the wall. I don't know who he thinks will believe them, but without further ado, let's just get right into it and see him pull up and meet Dr. Phil outside the stage here.
Jeremy, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. So this is your motorcycle?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so first things first, we're gonna be carrying out this theme throughout this video of how close are you to actually looking like a police officer, and I almost gotta give one to Jeremy here. It's like this guy read the law book meticulously and was just going out of his way to get as close as humanly possible to having a police motorcycle, or at least looking like a police officer, but everything's slightly different. Like if you look at his lights, they're amber colored and purple, which he can technically say that's not blue and red, which is like a cop, but you know, it's just super close colors that look pretty much the same. Just the badging and everything. It's insane how much this guy wants to be a police officer. You're not one, dude. You're a funeral escort coordinator, I guess you'd call it. Like, that's it.
And I notice you've got a badge image on the front.
That image was actually one of the images that most motorcycle companies use, from funeral escort companies throughout the US.
And this is one of his common excuses that he's going to be running with, is every other company does this actually, Dr. Phil. You know, I'm not the only person that has pretty much the exact same iconography as a police motorcycle, okay? I'm not the only one going out of my way to be a fake cop. There's many of us out there. Like, that doesn't make it any better, dude. You're not supposed to be using these symbols, or I guess legally he can get away with it. I'm sure he's read up on it, but still, that is misleading the public. And if I see that at first, I'm gonna be like, wow, that's a freaking cop right there.
What is this on the side? Is this a siren, a horn? What?
That's the horn. That's the bell for the horn.
Can we hear it?
Sure, yes, sir.
And then Dr. Phil asks to hear the horn, and wouldn't you know it, it sounds exactly like a cop horn, except it's slightly a different pitch. I think that was a F flat, and the normal horn is, you know, a B minor. Not really, I don't know the note of the horn, but you know what I mean. Like, it's so close, it might as well be a freaking cop horn. We know exactly what you're doing, dude. You're not sneaky with any of this stuff, and you look like a major dork right now. Also, I'm surprised he didn't wear his bulletproof vest that he usually wears, as well as his utility belt.
Black and white is a very rare, almost not found at all, law enforcement style motorcycle. Yeah. So we went with the black and motorcycles to make sure that we were very different than local law enforcement in Florida.
And this is the most comedic thing. Not only is he denying that he's going out of his way to look exactly like a motorcycle cop, he's now saying the actual polar opposite, that they specifically went with this design so as to not make the public think that they're officers and to distinguish themselves from the real law enforcement. Yeah, sure, buddy, because we see this and we're instantly like, oh, thank God that's not an actual cop. This man is insane. Yo, really quick, you guys, there's a large chunk of you that watch my videos that aren't subscribed, which is kind of whack if you ask me, but make sure if you're enjoying the videos, please scroll down and hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so much, as well as like the video so that more people can see it. But without further ado, we'll get back into the video.
And you think you've been harassed a lot by the police down there.
Yes.
Why are they picking on you?
Well, sir, once upon a time when I was a very young man, while in the academy, I impersonated a law enforcement officer.
So he comes up with this other wild tale that 18 years ago, I believe, he impersonated an officer, which I cannot believe that this man would do that. It's not anything like what he's doing in the current day and age, but because of that little transgression 18 years ago, the entirety of the police force near him in Florida has it out for him, and that's why they're harassing him. I would not say harassing, they're actually just arresting him for breaking an actual law. But in his eyes, it's harassment, and it's because of this thing 18 years ago, and definitely not because he's he's still doing the same thing now.
One of the strong beliefs, which we've found a lot of proof of, is there's a sergeant that is trying to shut my business down behind closed doors because he wants to start his own funeral escort business in the state of Florida.
And then if we're talking just insane conspiracy stories, there's another layer here. There's actually a rival sheriff that is trying to start his own company, and he's just jealous of the amazing clientele that Jeremy has. You know, he's a very reputable business, and he wants to take him out so that he can have the market to himself. Yeah, I'm sure, because every cop is like, you know what? I know I'm a sergeant and everything, but I think I'm gonna retire and just escort funerals from now on. So now we're gonna be going over this little incident that I've actually seen on the Real World Police video. I don't think I had it in the video yesterday, but he's harassing this guy in the blue car pretty much. And just check this out so you have some context.
What the f it look like I'm doing, dumb? Get the f over before you find out.
Stop pretending you're a police officer. I'm not interfering with you at all.
You are, by
You are
running along.
You've been blocking traffic.
Yeah, I need you to stay to the side, sir.
Dude,
That's what the legal
I'm
law
gonna call the
is.
police.
Go back and look it up.
I'm gonna call the
316.
police on you.
Good.
I'm gonna
Call
the
it
sheriff now.
Please, 911 right now.
So he literally pulls up next to this guy with lights on, screaming at him, yelling just cuss words, and basically harassing this guy for no reason, all because he's driving on the road while they're trying to escort this funeral. Because in Jeremy's eyes, if there's literally any other car in front of them sharing this roadway, if they are moving even a centimeter per second, he is going to strike them down and be like, you are infringing on this funeral and you are not letting me do my job, so I'm gonna scream at you and make you scared thinking that a cop's pulling up and screaming at you, but I'm not really a cop. Jeremy, didn't you know, man? You're not allowed to actually stop and harass people unless you're a real cop. We all know that. Come on, dude. Jokes aside, though, this was one of the major incidents that got reported against Jeremy, and I'm sure this is going to be used in his trial whenever that is happening. I'm not really fully looped in on his whole legal situation, but he has his lawyer up on stage with him. That goes to show just how much trouble he's in currently, and I'm surprised that he was willing to go on this show, but you know what? I gotta thank the guy because it is straight up content right now. This is insane.
What you don't see, because Real World Police edited the videos multiple times to the point where you're missing the 5 other times he's already driven and caused almost accidents in the funeral.
So, even though it's noted in the Real World Police video that they got this directly from law enforcement and the law enforcement officers themselves were the ones that trimmed the footage, even though we have that, Jeremy still claims that that channel owner is just editing it and changing the narrative. And this is an excuse he's gonna have for pretty much every incident with this is, oh, but what you don't see, Dr. Phil, and conveniently my GoPro was not quite on yet. I forgot to press record, but right before this guy was driving 300 miles an hour past me and literally brushed right by me, almost killing 20 civilians at once. Like, no one's gonna believe that. This guy's just freaking driving. We know the whole story. You can't act like there was this whole context before and then not have any proof for it. You're in ownership of the footage as well, dude. You could easily disprove this, but you haven't. So that goes to show that you were in the wrong.
And when I've already, and my other officer has already advised you multiple times that
And you say officer. What kind of officer are you talking about?
my officers that work for me.
Uh-oh, you slipped up, Jeremy. Remember, you're not a cop, so you can't call your coworkers officers. Come on, man, you're not very good at this whole lying thing. I know you've been doing it to yourself your entire life, but you really are an amateur liar.
My officers that work for me, they're certified with us. They're part of our company.
So you're state certified.
No, we're not state certified.
So who certifies you?
And right here is a perfect example of this man's strategy with speech. The way he says things, he phrases it in a very, very sketchy way. And then when Dr. Phil asks for clarification, it's almost like revealing the different layers of the onion. And the onion is just this massive lie. You'll see he started off by saying, yeah, they're my officers, they're state certified. And now that Dr. Phil is like, who's certifying them? Because the state definitely isn't. Let's see the actual true answer as he's pressed for more information.
So who certifies you?
We have a person that comes out and certifies our men
who's
and women.
what's this person's authority?
They're actually a police motorcycle instructor that comes out and makes sure that we do our riding properly.
And
So yeah, it started out that they were state certified officers, and then when you find out the real truth, it's just some random motorcycle instructor that's like, yeah, these guys are good to go, they're driving good. What does that have to do with anything? That's not state certification, and you're lying to people by saying that. So the next situation we're gonna be talking about here is this altercation he had with a man in a silver truck, which, as you can tell, he was just calling him F-boy over and over. He doesn't really have very good insults, but he has legitimately stopped him in the middle of the road, all because, again, he was sharing the roadway with this funeral procession. And that is not the way this works, dude. You don't have control of the road, and by you doing this, you are directly pretending to be a cop.
74 says we have the right of way with emergency vehicles. You need to sit tight, sir.
No, I don't.
You need to sit tight.
Answer my question.
I'm videotaping everything right now.
And notice how the guy repeatedly asked, "Are you law enforcement?" And Jeremy's only defense is just to pester this guy with more questions. "I'm asking you a question, sir. I'm asking you a question." God, I hate that term. Has a cop ever said that to you guys? That is the most frustrating thing to ever hear. Like, I can hear you're asking me a damn question, you moron. But I'm asking you one as well. It's called a conversation. You're not above me just because you got a badge, but that's beyond this. Let's keep going.
That's directing traffic.
Again, he's not pulling somebody over. I don't mean to split hairs with you, Dr. Phil, but...
And even the lawyer's in on the semantics game. He's not technically pulling him over. You saw they were just stopped on the road. That was more of just a mid-road stop, I would call it, not a pullover. He's got to be over in the shoulder for it to be considered a pullover. Like, shut up, dude. You know by representing this client, you're in a losing battle, okay? If anything, I would just stay silent to keep my reputation intact. I say that as if attorneys have any spines or care about their reputation. Anyways, let's just keep going with this stupid explanation of a very cut and dry situation. So to kind of wrap up this part, because there is seriously so much more content that I don't feel right trying to squeeze it into just one more video, and I kind of feel bad. I told you guys that I was going to post this video yesterday, so instead there is going to be a third part. But in the end here, of this one at least, Dr. Phil is sharing this Florida statute that very clearly lays out what they consider to be, you know, impersonating a police officer and just how illegal it is there, because this guy for some reason still believes that he's not breaking any laws. And it says a person who falsely assumes or pretends to be a sheriff, an officer of the FHP, or a police officer, or any personnel or representative of the Department of Law Enforcement, and takes it upon himself or herself to act as such, or to require any other person to aid or assist him or her in a matter pertaining to the duty of any such officer, commits a felony of the 3rd degree. So he's committing a 3rd degree felony by doing this. I mean, it checks all the boxes. He is personally doing it, and he takes it upon himself to require other people to aid and assist him in doing it, aka his other officers, who he called earlier, again, officers, not just freaking employees.
That funeral escort statute is dated and it needs to be updated. It doesn't address current driving conditions.
And as a final rebuttal to this whole statute being brought up, I just love this response from the lawyer. He says, "It's actually really dated. You don't understand. They're not with the modern times. Nowadays, there's so many maniacs on the road. We have to call ourselves officers, and we have to brand ourselves like this, because how else will people know that we're escorting a dead person? It's very important work, and it's okay that we're harassing the general public, all right?" Like, oh my God, the amount of talking in circles in this one has gotten me dizzy and giving me a headache. So again, I gotta take a break until the next video, which is going to be the finale of this saga with Jeremy on Dr. Phil's show. So hopefully everyone has been enjoying so far. Got some funny clips in this one. I love the lies that he tells and how much he has to explain them away. But anyways, that about does it for today's video. As always, I'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, peace out.